The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
You have a problem with that. Listen, no mercy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Straight Talk No Chase. I am your host, Trip Simpson, doing it Lone Ranger style today. Ready to get into this shit, but first let's handle business.
I know you're gonna look after family.
What family you talking about, Ice?
Fuck, I look invisible, nigga.
That's right, I am not invisible, so if you can hear the sound of my voice, if you're watching live right now, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and select all. If you are on Facebook, hit the like button, hit the share button. Let's get this video circulating through the algorithm. Now, got a lot of shit going on this week. Today, I want to talk about two things that are very closely related. The first is this whole Jason Whitlock thing, with him saying that pretty much chalking up the Tyre Nichols police murder situation to baby mama culture, which I don't necessarily disagree with. Second topic is failed Democratic cities. The question I have to ask you guys is, why are Democratic cities so high in crime and extremely high in corruption? Why is this the case? And a lot of people ask, where do I come to this conclusion? Well, I mean, if you look at all of the top cities for murder rates in the USA, 99% of them are Democratic cities. I mean, you go down the list, you got St. Louis, New Orleans, Detroit, Memphis, Cleveland, Kansas City, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Chicago, Washington, Indianapolis, Buffalo, Oakland, New York, Greensboro, Toledo, Columbus, Minneapolis, Tulsa, and Stockton. Damn near, I think that's damn near 100%. 100% of the top murder rates in America are from Democratic cities, the alleged party of peace. So I want to get into that. I want to just ask you guys that question. So I'm going to open up the lines a little later and we can get into that. But first, I want to get into this Jason Whitlock situation. So if you haven't heard, you've been hiding under a bus or hiding under a rock. Jason Whitlock was recently in a lot of Twitter beefs over his comments when he basically compared the way that Black culture and the way that the Memphis Police Department is being run is similar to baby mama culture, which he believes is the downfall of the Black quote unquote community. And I don't necessarily disagree with him. So before I get into my opinions, what I want to do is I want to get into what he said on Tucker Carlson. But first, I want to get into the video that he did afterwards to try to go into more detail of what he was talking about. So the first half of the show is going to be dedicated to the Jason Whitlock situation. Second half of the show, if anyone wants to, we'll take calls and we'll get into this failed Democratic city situation. So without wasting any more time, let's get into the first piece of evidence. And also, if you can hear me clearly, hit a 1 in the comment section just so I can know I'm not echoing or the audio's not off or anything like that. If you can hear me, hit the 1 button, please. All right, so here is the Jason Whitlock. This is footage from his show that he did the day after he made those comments that quote unquote got him in that trouble. All right, so let's get to it. Let me put my fair use up here. YouTube been banging me lately with the fair use shit, so I want to get that out the way. All right, so let's get started.
No racial group in America is more out of line with God's natural order than black people. 70% of our kids are born.
Whoa, he already starting off cooking. He's already starting off cooking. That's how Jason Whitlock is. Jason Whitlock gets to the shits off the break. He don't sugarcoat it. That's why I like the guy. Now, I'm not the most religious person in the world, so when he says the whole God thing, I'm not opposed to that, but I know that throws a lot of people off. But I think it's necessary to understand his point of view.
To unwed mothers. We don't view family as a necessity for success. It's just one of many options. It's prioritized well below allegiance to racial idolatry, the Democrat political party, and hip-hop culture. Those allegiances have made us hostile to a biblical worldview, indifferent toward marriage, and convinced there's little value in male leadership. Scripture is the kryptonite that weakens us rather than the cape we wrap ourselves in to unleash superpowers. Yeah, baby mama culture explains the Tyre Nichols tragedy. Sorry, I refuse to follow the script. The script for black influencers demanded that the Tyre Nichols tragedy be laid at the feet of so-called white supremacy. 5 black cops beat a 150-pound black man to death, and the script called for more mass shaming of white people and insinuations that policing should be outlawed.
Let's stop right there. Now, that's a very good point. Notice, everybody, the first person who I saw post about Tyre Nichols was Sean King. And if anybody knows me, I can't stand Sean King. Sean King was the first person to post. And all he did on his post on Instagram, I believe is where I saw it, was talk about white supremacy and how if he wasn't a black man and this and this and this and that. That's always the same go-to excuse. There's never any accountability for what we do to ourselves. We can't blame every single thing on the white man, which there are a lot of goddamn things you can blame on the white man, but this situation right here with Tyre Nichols, you cannot. That is strictly black people shit. It was done by 5 black cops in a 65% black city with a black police chief. The white man ain't got shit to do with that.
Had I followed the script, I wouldn't be embroiled in controversy. Public enemy number 1 of black Twitter, Sierra, and all the other blue check virtue signalers. In fact, had I dishonestly blamed systemic, institutionalized racism for Nichols' death, I would be the toast of Twitter, drowning in retweets, likes, and applause. I would be high as a kite on dopamine and swimming in interview requests. But that's not what I did when I appeared on Tucker Carlson's cable news show Friday night. I didn't lie. I didn't concoct some fantasy narrative where 5 black cops shouted, "This is MAGA country," before attacking Tyre Nichols. I blamed the 5 cops for their criminal behavior and predicted that a predominantly black jury will find them guilty of second-degree murder. I then criticized CNN and other media outlets for hyping the release of the body camera footage like it was Al Capone's secret vault and using the video to distract from America's escalating involvement in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. And when surprisingly given an opportunity to provide an additional thought, I argued that the 5 police officers mimicked gang behavior and that the whole sad event is a byproduct of communities overrun with matriarchal values and controlled by single black mothers.
That is a fact. Nobody can argue with that. That is a fact.
I said that the conversation we should be having in reaction to Tyre Nichols centered on the cost of destroying the black family. That's what I wrote down. That's my paraphrase, having given it a bunch of thought. That's what I tried to convey in the final 60 seconds of an unscripted 4-minute TV segment. YouTube has now classified my remarks as inappropriate and offensive.
Join the club. Join the club.
I want you to judge for yourself. Let's watch my comments in full here.
All right, so here is his full commentary on the Tucker Carlson show. I think, like he said, it's about 4 minutes. So let's go ahead and watch that.
Everyone's behaving inappropriately, including these 5 Memphis police officers. It's an open and shut case. The camera from above captures the police doing something totally illegal. The second-degree murder charges are warranted. This is going to be a revisitation of the Walter Scott, the guy that got shot on camera by a cop in the back. He got convicted, went to prison. It's an open and shut case. This is too. I don't get what people are protesting about.
Yeah, that's one thing I also wanted to bring up. I don't understand the deal with all this protest. What are they protesting exactly? Prior, like most cop incidents, you have people outside yelling, "No justice, no peace." Well, I mean, there was justice, swift justice, taken in this case. They were fired immediately, and they've all been charged with second-degree murder. So I don't understand what the protesting. What are they protesting? The grand jury that hasn't even been brought up yet, or I don't get it. It's like they use the death of black men to fund or distract us from whatever plot or plan they got going on. And right now, I think it's evident that that's the case.
These are 5 black officers. The victim is black. The police chief is black. The police have been fired and charged, and they will be convicted, I would assume, by a predominantly black jury in a city that's 65% black. So the system is going to work here. What the other system that's working is the corporate media's insistence on promoting racial division at the behest, in my view, of the military-industrial complex. They want us all looking at this and not looking at what they're doing in Ukraine as they drag America and the world into World War III. This is a distraction, in my opinion. CNN hyped this video like they were hyping the Super Bowl. And there's really only 60 seconds of relevant content. You show the police misconduct from overhead as they brutalize this man and make it clear this is an open and shut case and the guys are going to be convicted, and we move on. They treated this like a Super Bowl, enraging people, promoting the violence, and this is the most important story in the history of the planet. It's not. What's going on in Ukraine and our military involvement in Ukraine, that's the most important story going on in the world, but they don't want you focused on that.
Great points. Once again, he definitely brings up a very interesting viewpoint. While all this hoopla is going on what seems to be a local matter that has already been handled by the authorities, the whole entire nation is reporting on it and watching it step by step when there's a whole ass motherfucking world war brewing that no one is paying attention to.
That is such a good point. And you've been in the news business all your life, 35 years or something. I felt guilty putting that video on the screen, not because I was on anyone's side. I felt obviously bad about it. It was horrible. But because you don't want to put ugly things on TV and inflame passions. You want people to be reasonable and think things through and reach wise decisions. Why would news organizations, they really want to make people enraged. Clearly.
They don't want us focused on reality. Hey, if they want us to devote an hour of coverage to this and weekend coverage of this, and they want to take us to a good place, I would examine the racial element of this, because there is a racial element. And this is a story about young black men and their inability to treat each other in a humane way. Everybody involved in this on the street level was either 24 to 32 years old. Everybody. It was a group of young black men, 5-on-1. Looked like gang violence to me. It looked like what young black men do when they're supervised by a single black woman. And that's what they got going on in the Memphis.
Yeah, let's rewind that, because here's the part where everyone had all the fake outrage on. So let's go back just a little bit.
And disunity and violence that we see in a lot of these cities that are run by single mothers. If we want to discuss 5-on-1. Looked like gang violence to me. It looked like what young black men do when they're supervised by a single black woman.
That's where he pissed them off. But that's the truth bomb that set this whole thing on fire. He's absolutely right. Where do you see gang-infested communities? Where there's a lack of fathers, where you have supervision by women. Now, to me, it didn't sound like he was even calling the woman a single mother. He was just making a comparison, basically stating that women can't supervise men. That's what I saw.
And that's what they got going on in the Memphis Police Department. They've elected some or put some black woman in charge of the police force. And we're getting the same kind of chaos and disunity and violence that we see in a lot of these cities that are run by single mothers. If we want to discuss.
What did he say wrong there? I don't see anything that he said wrong in this entire interview up until this point. He made a comparison to black male supervision under women to a single mother trying to raise a black woman in a household, basically saying it doesn't work. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. There is no argument with that. We can even go a little deeper. If you follow this woman's career, I think her name is CJ Saralyn Davis. Everywhere she's been in a leadership role, she's fucked everything up. When she was in Atlanta, she fucked up a damn child sex abuse case for one of her friends. And she also was at the head of a unit similar to the Scorpion unit. The Scorpion, okay, let's backtrack. The Scorpion unit is the unit these 5 officers who killed this young man were in. Okay? And she was the chief of police when this unit was put together. So one could say she's responsible for the Scorpion unit in Memphis. Now let's rewind a couple of years back to when she was in Atlanta. She was also in charge of a unit called the Red Dog unit, which was a similar anti-gang unit, like the Jump Out Boys or whatever you call it. It was a similar unit that she was the head of at one point, and that unit got disbanded for misconduct. As a matter of fact, I think one time they did a raid and they killed a 92-year-old woman, like amongst other things, right? So you got to understand, like, this type of dysfunction coincidentally seems to follow this particular chief. But everybody's out here. You got all your goddamn social justice, Twitter warriors in the black community coming to her rescue as if she's a good person. She's not a good person. She intentionally covered up child sex abuse to help one of her friends out. That's the type of woman this is. So no, she doesn't deserve any sympathy here. She's gonna get what's coming to her. Once they start looking into her past, she's done.
The breakdown of family that leads to disrespect for authority, that causes you to resist the police and run from the police and not comply with the police because you resist authority at all time because there was no male authority in your home. Let's have that discussion. But that's not where they want to take us. They want to take us down the path of saying, you know what? This is Tucker Carlson's fault. This is some random white, this is Donald Trump's fault. It's not. It's the breakdown of family and the buying in to all these left-wing things that have nothing to do with promoting family.
Now, that was his comments on the situation. I didn't see anything wrong with any of that. I think the only mistake that he really made was not having enough time to explain his comments when it came to the baby mama culture, because for the people who listen just to disagree, they're going to run with the whole he called her a baby mama, which is not really what he said. He was just making a comparison to the way that she runs the police department and the way that the black community is ran to the way single mothers run their households. And this is not about all single mothers, of course, but for the most part, when you're talking about kids going to jail and pretty much indicators for the life that someone's going to have, one of the main things that psychologists and everyone else who predicts these type of things, one of the main things they point to is single parent households. I'm not making this up. This is just what the facts are. So the fact that he pointed this out, like everyone's in an outrage. You have people like Sierra and Reggie Bush, all type of clowns come out the woodworks with a problem with this statement. But that's the problem with the community. No one wants to look inside of themselves. No one wants to take accountability. They want to put it on the next group. When in actuality, it's not the next group's responsibility. It's not the next group's responsibility to manage our culture. It's our responsibility. Shout out to Zoe Wilkerson. You said you spoke on this. That's what's up, man. Hey, look, if you want to call in, I'll definitely be taking calls soon. I'll put the link in the chat in a second. As a matter of fact, let me do that now. If anybody wants to jump in, I'll put the link in the chat. Boom, there we go. All right, so let's continue.
That is the first time I've rewatched that clip. Everything that I said previously was based off memory, because again, a lot of times you go on these shows and you just start talking and you don't know where the conversation will go. You don't know what the questions are. And literally, when I got up out of that chair and left the studio, I didn't think I had said anything remotely controversial. I certainly didn't say anything that we don't talk about on this show constantly. That is my brain. That is what I spend all of my time talking about. Hey, are we out of line here? Is our family destruction, is that causing all of these pathologies that are hurting us? The only thing I would take back, and again, I'm just talking in the moment, I wasn't even expecting to get a second cut, a second bite at the apple to say anything. The only thing I would change a bit, a tiny bit, is creating the impression that I was talking about Cerelyn Davis, the police chief, as if she was some single mama. I was trying to make a bigger, broader point about unparented young black men in these inner cities and America thinking, hey, let's put some black woman in charge. She's gonna correct it. That's what we have going on in all of these major urban cities where the illegitimacy rate, the marriage rate, the illegitimacy rate's at an astronomical high and the marriage rate is at an astronomical low. And women are in charge. We've fallen in love with the matriarchy.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Now, I want to fast forward a little bit to another segment he did with one of his co-hosts, Royce White. I felt like, so in this first segment, I feel like he explained himself very well. I felt like he did a perfect recap of his comments. I didn't really see anything in there that he said wrong. But if you do, by all means, put a comment in the chat or click the link, and we can, you know what I'm saying, you can pop up on the mic and we can discuss it. But I didn't really see anything wrong. Now, I want to go a little further up in the video to the Royce White segment, which I also thought was excellent because they brought up a lot of key points when it comes to our culture here. All right.
People aren't ready for it. I can follow where you're going, but I want to unpack it tomorrow, the next day or whatever. I can get off into the bigger ideas, but people right now can't even fully grasp the smaller ideas that I unpacked. And so I need you to help me do that in terms of what people can handle today is, hey, there's a dynamic, and this is what I want to talk to you about because I know you have thoughts on it. There's a dynamic going on between the black man and the black woman.
Oh, great.
That has us in chaos and at odds with each other and fighting over who's actually going to be the leader. And the argument that I consistently keep having on this show is like, hey man, it's gotta be us. It's the only way that'll work. These women are off in some fantasy land where they think they're gonna be the leaders of the black community. And I'm like, hey, let's look at the results. You've been in charge. The government installed you as in charge. Right. They set up a system to emasculate us and run us out.
My man Whitlock is on fire, man. I know a lot of people don't like this dude, but I watch his show. Jason Whitlock makes a lot of sense. There's very few things that I disagree with him. A couple of things I disagree with him about, but that's neither here nor there. I think for the most part, Jason Whitlock is saying things that we need to hear. But you know, that doesn't sit well with a lot of these Negroes.
The whole court system as it relates to child custody, as it relates to divorce, as all of it is slanted in your favor and has made you the woman king. And it doesn't work. These are the results. We got police departments establishing gangs within their ranks to go fight gang members out on the street. And then, so what do gangs do? Illegal things, and they run amok. And I'm just speculating in terms of my theory on what's gone on here with this young man and these police officers. But I just don't believe this is about policing. I don't think this young man drove inappropriately. I think this cop pulled him over. They started pepper spraying him, no matter what he did. And because to me, one of the things I saw early on in the video is this dude is looking up at them like, what is going on? What did I do? He looks so confused and terrified. He can't figure out where all this hostility is coming from. And so I don't think he had any choice but to run.
And real quick, I'd like to say, if just in case you guys haven't heard, there's been reports coming out that Mr. Nichols and I think the officer Haley, that's one of the guys who were complicit in his murder. Officer Haley's baby mama / ex-girlfriend worked at FedEx with Tyree Nichols. These are the reports that's coming out. And it's reported that those two had like a little fling. So they're saying that Officer Haley followed this guy, pulled him over, beat the shit out of him over the fact that he was banging his baby mama. And there's also reports that he took a picture of Terry Nichols while he was getting beat and sent it to his baby mom. Those are the reports. Now, I haven't heard any quote unquote official news source report on this, but this is what's floating around on Twitter and Instagram and all that other shit. But it makes sense to me because from what I saw, it looked like this was a personal ass whooping right here. This did not look like a resisting arrest, just trying to detain somebody. They beat the shit out of him. They had this man handcuffed, stood him up, and the nigga cocked back and stole off on him. Like, that's personal shit. That's definitely personal shit.
He was jumped by a gang. That's what you do. And I think it's all rooted in the chaos within if there is no family structure, there will be no order.
Real quick, David Zoe Wilkerson, on the hit the link, we can discuss it because I agree with what Jason Whitlock was saying. He wasn't talking specifically about one sister, quote unquote. He was talking about the system as a whole having women in charge of certain aspects of the culture doesn't work. By nature, the man should lead. So when you have women in charge and in these certain positions, this is the outcome that you're going to get over and over again. He's talking about that 3 different ways: within the culture, in the community, and on the police force. He wasn't saying that she was a single mother or anything like that, because she's married and I think she does have kids. He's saying that this woman should not be in that position in the first place, because it's been proven over and over and over that that's really not the best idea. All right, I'm gonna bring you in. Got you. What's up, bro?
What's up, bro? What's going on with you?
Ain't too much, man. How you feeling?
Man, staying out the way, bro. I can't complain, man. I was like I said, first of all, I love your show. I love your platform. I love what you're doing.
Thanks,
awesome
man.
brother. You're like, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, what I love about it is that you bring different perspectives, regardless of, you know what I'm saying, right, wrong, and indifferent. You know what I'm saying? You kind of play that devil's advocate, which is a great way of allowing people to think. So kudos to you first of all.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, secondly, like when it comes to this situation right here, right, what I didn't respect the fact that now he cleared it up, but at that point in time, what he did was he completely like basically said that what it came off at first, that
Gotcha.
because it was he was raised by a single black woman, like that's the reason why, you know, things is going on right now. And I didn't respect it because I was raised by a single black woman. You know what I'm saying? I was raised by a single black woman. I work in the community every day. I'm actually a police officer myself in this district. You know what I'm saying? So I work hard every day, and all I do is community outreach 8 to 12 hours a day, every day. Days off, I'm getting calls from kids that's still hungry. Kids are still going through things at home, and I'm right there taking money out of my own pocket, giving people like on the regular. So that's what I do. So for him to say because it was raised by a single black woman, at that very moment right there, it pissed me all the way off. You know what I mean? Because I was like, that's totally disrespectful to our woman. But now that I hear him clear it up,
Okay.
now that I hear him clear it up, it makes a lot more sense. But you can't speak that way, especially when you're talking to white America, especially when you're talking to, you know what I'm saying, another white commentator. You got to be very specific and very intentional when you speak with the words that you speak. And at that very moment, he wasn't.
But I'll say this though. I mean, honestly, and I pretty much I get what you're saying. But to be honest with you though, I don't really think that it's even necessary to walk on eggshells with the White House, because everybody else in the world can see it. We the only motherfuckers that act like it don't exist. Everybody knows. Everybody knows our household.
Don't get a misconstrued. Walking on eggshells is not what I'm discussing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
What I'm saying is that the way that it was the way that he said it, he pointed a finger. He pointed a finger at the chief of police, a single black woman, a woman that didn't have a man, and he said, "This is their leadership."
Well, no, actually, it's not what we can go. I'll go back to the clip. That's not what he said. He said this is similar. He said when you look at the gang violence, and he said when you look at this group of officers, they look like a gang.
Okay.
Look like a gang that came out of a community where you have mostly single women raising men. I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what he said. He did not. He did not go.
The way that I interpreted when he said it, when he initially said it, was that he was attacking single black mothers.
No, I'll go back to it. I'll go back to it for you.
Okay.
We'll review it just to make sure. I want to make sure I ain't crazy. All right. Here we go. All right.
So like I said, and I know I'm not the only one to interpret that way, because you have so many people across the nation going crazy over just his statements.
Oh yeah, but they always go crazy on Cuz.
What they got going on in the Memphis Police Department, they've.
All right. Let's.
I felt obviously bad about it. It was horrible. But because you don't want to put ugly things on TV and inflame passions, you want people to be reasonable and think things through and reach wise decisions. Why would news organizations? I mean, they really want to make people enraged. Clearly,
they don't want us focused on reality. Hey, if they want us to devote an hour of coverage to this and weekend coverage of this, and they want to take us to a good place, I would examine the racial element of this, because there is a racial element. And this is a story about young black men and their inability to treat each other in a humane
Now watch, listen to what he say. He about to get into it.
way. Everybody
I'm paying
involved in
attention.
this on the street level was either 24 to 32 years old. Everybody. It was a group of young black men, 5-on-1. Looked like gang violence to me. It looked like what young black men do when they're supervised by a single black woman. And that's what they got going on in the Memphis Police Department. They've elected some or put some black woman in charge of the police force. And we're getting the same kind of chaos and disunity and violence that we see in a lot of these cities that are run by single mothers. If we want to discuss the breakdown of family that lead.
All right, we don't got to go all the way back into that. But so, yes, I see what you're saying. It does give off that. But at the same time, he never really called her a single mother. And like he said, he was trying to fit an analogy in to a small, you know what I'm saying, small window of time to talk. And he did.
But the only thing I'm saying is you can't. But when you're doing things like that, you got to be very intentional with what you're saying. Like it should. You can't leave it up for confusion. Like when you're speaking like that, and you're not only you're speaking for an entire culture, an entire race of people. So when you have that platform and you have that type of audience, you have to be very intentional, very very intentional with what you're saying and how you're saying it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying you got to dance around or prance around. I just think that like what he could have separated the two, so as though it's not like it was a shot at her or a shot at single mothers versus saying we need to address the fact that men need to step up. You know what I'm saying? Or what the police department's not doing. They're not doing enough for community outreach to try to bridge the gap between the community and the police. And like that should have been more of an until like you could separate those two. But the way that he wrote it together made it seem like he was attacking the single black mothers. And I was raised by a single black mother, and that turned out half okay. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, is like that is what frustrated me. You know what I'm saying? At that point.
Can I ask you this though? Because okay, now you like you said, you were raised by a single black mother, right? But can we be honest though? Yep. For the most part, like, cause I grew up with both of my parents. I grew up in the house with both of my parents, but I had a lot of friends.
Right.
I mean, come on, it's DC, right?
Right.
Would it be safe to say that is an issue? Men not growing up or not growing up?
No. Let me say, it's an overdue issue from the 70s, 60s, 70s on up. That they took the black father out the home. That's how you destroy the whole nation of people. We understand that. And I don't disagree. Like I said, once he broke it down and said what he meant to say, that we intentionally wanted to say, at that very moment I said, you know what, I agree with that. But when he initially said what he said, you know what I'm saying, in front of white America, I did not agree with the way that he did that.
I mean,
I don't think he's wrong in what he's saying. I think his delivery at that moment confused everyone.
I just feel like
even his own people.
I feel like how could we be mad at Jason Whitlock, right, for ultimately making a truthful statement in front of white America when we have bitches like Megan Thee Stallion shaking their ass, holding up a black power fist in front of a picture of Malcolm X on Saturday Night Live. But there's no problem with that. You know what I mean?
But this is the thing, though. There is a problem with that, but that right there should be addressed too. Like, then he should have called out Megan.
But I'm not saying you. I'm not saying that's something you did. I'm talking about
I'm saying what she should have.
All these people got mad at him for making this statement.
No, like I said, I'm not like. If put it like this, bro. If the statement that he made on his rebuttal, if that was his initial statement, I would have tagged people, shared it, and say this brother's absolutely right.
Gotcha.
So I don't have a problem at all, like whatsoever, of what he said or what he what he meant to say. But what he actually said at that very moment, to me, was highly disrespectful to all the women that was left out here with no man. They did not have a choice whether or not they baby father stayed around or his husband stayed around or whatever the case may be.
Hold on.
And,
I
like,
gotta, you know, I got smoke for him. I gotta slow you down right there because there's a motherfucking choice. Because they throw it in your face every day when they talk about Roe versus Wade. My body, my choice. Like, we can't. Hold on.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna tell you why it's a lot of time.
Well, I see you in the garage.
Yeah. My bad. So what I'm saying, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say this to you. In my situation, my father was on drugs. You know what I'm saying? So my mother had to get away from him to give me a better life, so I wouldn't follow suit or let that be the person that was giving me, making me was being like an influence in my life. You see what I'm saying?
No, I got you.
So my home was not broken due to the justice system or something like that. Like, my father was in and out of jail, but he was in and out of jail of things that he done to hurt himself and things that he done like in his life and the decisions that he made. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, when my father was beating on my mother, I grew up in a house with domestic violence and everything else. You can't expect for a woman to stay in that type of abusive situation. Right. So my mother was a single mother raising 3 children from the fact that she had to get away from a person that probably could have killed her if she stayed.
Right. But see,
does that make her not as important or need to be disrespected because the circumstances made her a single mother?
No, it doesn't. But what if you want to take it at your personal situation? No. But if we're talking about in general, right? Which is the issue? Because we're talking about in general. These kids today, these young women growing up today, right? Mm-hmm. They don't even have the word husband in their lexicon.
No, and guess what? Like I said, bro, you're right.
Like, look at Rihanna. Right. All these women look up to Rihanna. Rihanna is, to me, is sad. Rihanna is a billionaire baby mama. A billionaire baby mama. Like, this is what our kids are looking at. Rihanna's a quote unquote billionaire, but she's also a baby mama.
Right.
That's
guess what?
Culture,
you're absolutely correct. And I would not disagree with his rebuttal, because I think his rebuttal was absolutely on point. You know what I mean? Absolutely on point. I think that, but I also think that instead of attacking or saying the single mother situation, maybe say more about the fathers need to step up and stairs to handle their responsibility. Like, don't always put that all the way on the woman either, because you got to realize sometimes a woman is the way she is because the way a man treated her.
Yeah, but
so a lot of us men, hold on, but a lot of us men have not been leading in the way that we should be leading as well. So we can't always put, like, us not having men in the home created the independent black woman.
No, that's not what created the independent black woman. That is not.
Bro, I can't agree with that.
I put it to you like this.
This is what I'm saying. Hear me out. I'm about to give you the domino effect. All right, just real quick, and I'm gonna let you speak. I promise. The domino effect in the early '60s, '70s, when they started locking up and taking the positive men out the home, right? Mothers had to be single mothers and start raising their families, right? So when children was growing up and they seeing their mother struggle, at that very moment, they started being like, I can never let this be me. I'm gonna have to take care of myself. And mothers started raising women to be more independent because they couldn't depend on the man. Right or wrong?
I would say that's wrong.
Okay, tell me why I'm wrong.
That's completely wrong, because if you want to take this, first of all, there's a whole report on this, right? That was done in the 60s. This was a plan. If you get a chance, look at the Moynihan report.
Okay, I read that. Mm-hmm.
This shit lays it all out. So they had to do something to combat the momentum that the civil rights movement had, right? So what did they do?
They took the leaders.
No. They did a couple things. Number one, when they made the civil rights legislation, they changed the word black to minority, right? Mm-hmm. Which is a problem. And also, the next thing—
blacks were the minorities.
No. Because a minority is anybody. If you got a humpback, you're a minority. You could be, at these days, you could be a white man with a wig on, and now you're a minority. So changing the word black to minority was a huge mistake, because now anybody except a straight white man can take all the benefits that our ancestors fought and died for. That's number one. Number two, the feminist movement. Actually, there's three things. The feminist movement, because black women started hopping into that women's empowerment movement, which...
Why though? Why?
Hold on. Number three, the implementation of welfare and Section 8 housing, forcing the man out the door. What the women don't want to bring up is a large majority of these women took the check instead of the man. I guarantee you, if you go back and look at the, hold on, hear me out. If you, because let's take all emotion out of this. Let's look at the facts. It's a fact that there was way less black men locked up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s than there were black women unmarried with children on Section 8. It's overwhelmingly more of them. It's overwhelmingly more of them. So to say all the black men was getting locked up, that's not true. Mass incarceration, hold on, mass incarceration didn't even really kick in until the mid-90s. So to say all the black men were locked up, I guarantee you, if you look at the prison rate from back then, it's nowhere near what it is now. But you know what is? The fucking welfare and Section 8 benefit rate. You could not.
Okay, remember this. I'm not going to say you wrong in that. But this is what I want you to say. Want you to understand, right? What was one of the stipulations, a lot of the stipulations of men on welfare back then? That you couldn't have a felon in your house.
Couldn't have a felon. Couldn't have a man in your.
Not just a man, a felon.
Oh, you know what? Not the sidebar. You know what's so funny about this conversation?
What's up?
You can be a felon and be a Memphis cop.
I never knew that.
Yes, they have a voucher program where you can be a felon and be a Memphis cop.
But it had to be a non-violent felon?
Guess who implemented it?
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to sidebar, but just that's crazy.
No, I got you. But the point that I was trying to make with that, well, that's what I was saying, right? Was that somehow, some way, regardless what the women decided to do, right? If the man would, put it like this. Say give the Good Times. I'm gonna give it Good Times, like the television show, right?
Okay.
They had a black man's pride will not allow him to let his family get on welfare or let his family be broken up or let anybody come in and tell his family what to do because he stood strong. A lot of men wasn't able to do that. So what they did was they separated them, like you said, through the welfare, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. But all that shit boils back down to the man being there standing his ground and taking the brunt of the responsibility of life's pain for his family.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right?
Because that's what, if put it like this, there's no way I'm gonna sit there and allow my family or my wife or anybody to get on welfare. I'm like, hell no, I'll work 3 or 4 jobs. I'll go out here and rob people to pay for before I let them break us up or tear us down or whatever the case may be. And that a lot of them didn't do that.
So
when they did do that, they went to war. They went to war.
Let's fast forward it though, right? Because now it's progressed into, it's so bad to be a man trying to lead your house. Now the courts are against you. Like, it's a risk. It's a risk for the everyday average black man to even invest anything in any of these women, because if you work, and you know this being a cop, I'm a firefighter, even if you drive a bus for Metro, right? You got hoes out here looking to fuck you just to get pregnant.
Yes. I mean, like I said, times are definitely changing. You're absolutely right.
But this is how far, hold on. This is how far we've gotten into baby mama culture, where you have women who are literal predators out here trying to get pregnant by you just to get money. These hoes don't even care about the kids.
Yeah, but hold on. But let me ask you. Let me also say this: if every last one of our rappers that was out here saying "fuck these bitches, hoes ain't shit," let me pay you for some pussy, this is that, whatever the case may be. If they was actually out here like, no, I want a wife and promoting that, I want me a good woman and promoting that. Guess what? Women will start gravitating towards being that because they know that's what niggas with money want.
Hey, can I tell you this? I agree with you. I can't stand any of these rappers. I know.
That's all a male's leadership.
No. Who raised most of these niggas? Who raised them?
The streets.
No, they mamas. But they mamas didn't raise them, right? So the streets did it. My bad.
No, I love that, and and that's what I'm saying. I agree. That's why I say I don't disagree with what he said, but I also think primarily men are not being raised to be men either. They're not being taught how to be men either. They're
Because
not taught
the mamas been raising them. We're 3 generations in baby mama culture. We're fucked.
Right. So what's right? So what needs to happen is all in addition, because I'm not gonna say but or in addition. So you saying it's the single mother situation, men need to lead better to make a woman say, you know what? If you, let me say something to you, bro. I don't care what woman, it's always one man. It's one man in this universe that can break a woman down and make her submit and actually be a wife. Period. It may be a gangster. It may be a pimp. It may be a police officer. It may be a school teacher, but it's somebody. It may be a CEO of a Fortune 5 company. Like whatever the case may be, a woman's nature is to submit to a man and actually be a wife, be submissive and be a wife and be a mother. Like that's their nature. Now, if their mindset is somewhere different, that's fine. But I guarantee, but their actual nature as human nature is that's what it is. So with that being said, men have to. This have to be the time of period where men actually step up and say, you know what, we can't let this happen no more. So now, if men is in the house with fathers and these daughters in the house with fathers, then things can change.
For sure, I'm in my daughter's ears all day, every day. I'm not playing with them, but. You know, we have to really look at this and examine it for what it is, bro. For the most part, the everyday average man who has a child really doesn't have a leg to stand on once he gets one of these women pregnant. And they know this.
That's always with intent too, though, bro.
They know this and they use it against you, bro. You could be the best father in the world, bro. One argument, you downtown.
There's no way you're gonna find. Yeah, but
so what I'm saying is, how do you build with women that have this type of mindset? They want to talk all that white supremacy shit and the white man this and the white man that, but as soon as you get into a verbal altercation with them, bow, she sicks the white man right on you.
Well, I mean, honestly, that would have to be a court situation where it's like instead of them sicking them right on you and they going there doing child support and all this other stuff, like.
But I'm with you.
Put them in counseling for a year.
I'm married.
Put them in counseling for a year.
I got another one on the way. You know what I mean? So I'm not even telling niggas not to do it. It's just I don't live in Wonderland, so I can't. You know what I mean? Like for the most part,
bro, you're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I have no quarrel with what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like. When you started taking, you know what I'm saying, God out of the schools and things of that nature, like all these change, everything changed. The roles are going to change because the way God intended it, he's no longer and that's just no disrespect. I'm not talking religion and all that stuff. I'm not a religious person. But a lot of times, but when you take God out of situations, bro, like everything is going to be in a disarray. You know what I'm saying? Because everything that you're doing outside of him is like not in his divine order, which means like when we have a situation where a man is no longer the leader, the woman came from a man's rib. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's the divine order of things. I'm talking from the beginning. I just do that because that's the beginning of time.
I'm not arguing with you, bro. You right there. We have no quarrel there. But
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So when you started taking that away, then you know what I'm saying, at that very moment, everything in the world is gonna be a disarray. You know what I mean? So like
I mean, we have the women. If you look at the Black Lives Matter organization, you know why that organization is a failure? Because you have women and effeminate men speaking for us.
I don't disagree with that.
These are the wrong people. They do not need to be speaking for us. Why? Number one, because they are not going to bust a grape in a fruit fight. No pun intended.
Mhm.
But
No, if you look at everything is changed, bro.
While they're out here talking all this shit on camera about police brutality and white supremacy and all this shit, guess what? If the war pops off tomorrow, none of them will be fighting.
Yeah,
It's gonna be us.
bro. You can take it all the way across the board. Like they've been taking the masculine male singers are actually gone. You ain't no more Teddy Pendergrass. Like our male singers is goddamn Usher and you know what I'm saying, Chris Brown and like everything masculine dominant like it's been taken away from us. Period.
You know why though?
Everything is sensitive. Like we can't even have a conversation about having straight feelings without offending the LGBT community. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, and it's not that I have something against them, but everybody's entitled to their feelings, and nobody's feelings is respected.
Well, I agree. But the part of the problem is, right, and whether you're talking about gay or straight, right?
Right.
Like you mentioned Chris Brown, Usher. The reason why we're to this point is because these niggas are growing up under their mother's supervision and they want to be like their mother, even with the rappers, right? All the jewelry and the fucking designer clothes that they're so obsessed with, you get that shit from a woman. My father walked around in raggedy ass shoes and regular shit on. And he had a great job.
Because he worked and he was a provider. So that's all he cared about.
But what I'm saying is, so, I mean, of course, I like nice clothes here and there, but I wouldn't call myself the most fashionable guy out here. I own a watch, but I don't have jewelry and none of that crap because that didn't mean nothing to me coming up. Sure. These youngins these days, though, their biggest, as soon as they get a little bit of money, they go get a fucking chain.
Listen, I mean, like I said, I work with children daily, and I talk to these youngers all the time, and I say to them, before you buy yourself a chain, won't you if you're gonna live this gangster life, before you buy yourself a chain or buy yourself some gold teeth or buy yourself won't you buy yourself some life insurance so your mother can bury you? So ain't nobody gotta do a GoFundMe. Like if you're gonna live this gangster life, man, put yourself in a position where nobody got to be responsible for burying you. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard and it's sad to say, but I'm just telling show like you got to prioritize your life and look out for those around you. Like if you're not going to protect your mother and protect your baby mother, protect your kids, who going to do it?
I agree. So look, you got time? Because I want to get through the rest of this clip. I'll leave you on it.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch you go through the rest of the clip. And if I see something, I'll come back on. I'm going to let other people be able to come on up.
That's a bet, bro.
All right, man. Love you. Love what you're doing, bro. Hopefully see you at the next situation.
For sure. I'll be out there, man. You know, the old man be bullshitting, man. I don't know what's going on with him.
I live 2 houses up. So when it's all said and done, like, you invited to mine.
All right, that's what's up. All
right.
Out there.
All right, bro.
All right. Great call. So let's get back to the video. That's what I'm talking about. If anybody else wants to call in, the lines are open. Hit the link at the top of the chat if you want to join in. All right, so let's finish this out.
Known as cultural Marxism. This is the manifestation of Marxism, what you're talking about. So when you hear the right-wingers and the conservatives talk about the pernicion of Marxism, this is what it is. And I'll tell you how. Marxism is a political and economic ideology that presents itself as a remedy to the unequal distribution of resources and labor. But that's only half the story with Marxism. What Marxism really aims to do, first of all, in its inception, it was anti-God and secular. But what it really...
Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you join us, we are reviewing the Jason Whitlock situation where he referred to baby mama culture in the Tyre Nichols case. Right now, we are watching correspondent Royce White, who is also weighing in on the situation. Royce White is one of my personal favorite guys that you can find talking shit on the internet. All his points be valid. So let's go ahead and take a listen to what he got. We just had a great call from my main man, Zoe. Like I said, he might be back on later tonight. If anybody else wants to come back in, the link is at the top of the chat. Click the link and you can join the conversation. Let's continue.
Really aims to do is reduce the human existence down to price. Everybody that opts into it has a price. Everything in life has a price, whether it's Sierra, whether it's the other Instagram models who got OnlyFans instead of wanting to work as bank tellers or clerks or whatever it is. This is what Marxism has done ideologically. Everybody has a price. That's a form of radical materialism. And in that, here's the reason why they do it. If you can obscure the value of men's work, then you can start to obscure the value of men altogether in the minds of women. Because much of the labor and natural resource distribution or economy as a whole has been predicated historically on the labor of men.
This nigga spitting. Let's go.
That's a fact. Men's labor. So once you can distort that, you can go to work on the value of people at large.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are discussing Jason Whitlock and baby mama culture.
That's what they've done here. That's what cultural Marxism has done, which is why the modern feminist is its greatest ally. The black feminist, the white feminist, the trans feminist, whatever it is. The feminist ideology is Marxism's greatest ally because if you can devalue the work of men, you can hijack the human reproductive system. You own the sexual marketplace, which is why when you go to the shade room and you look down in the comments, you see a bunch of men biting their lip, holding their head in the position for the best lighting and angle, okay, taking selfies.
This nigga's cooking. Let's go.
On their profile. I'm in this demographic. I know who these guys are. These are the guys who date women who bench press 300 pounds. These are the guys who are walking around talking about their pro-black neophyte feminists. They're the ones on there criticizing you, saying, you know, it's the men's fault too. The baby mama culture is the men's fault. Let's be clear about this. Are there men that are having sex with women and then not taking care of their kids just from the outset? Yeah, that's a thing. But let's be more clear. The overpreponderance of circumstance in the black community is this. There are black women who grow up with no intention of having a child with a man they intend to be with from the outset. They're having sex at 18, 17, 19, 20, and there's no family structure involved. There's no family format or structure in the calculation at all. Maybe in their delusional, mind where they want Idris Elba, but in reality, there's no family structure there for them from the beginning.
Man, if y'all can't tell me this nigga is not cooking right now. He is cooking. How can anybody disagree with this? Well, I can see how a woman would disagree with this. But how can a grown-ass man disagree with this? If you disagree, do me a favor, hit the link at the top of the chat, join the conversation, and we can go at it.
Secondly, and this is more important, as you stated, there are women who have sex with men, have a child with a man, and in that relationship, they are actively sabotaging that relationship from any type of success. And they're using the same system that they claim is white supremacy as a battle axe against the man. They are trying to get the man to submit to their will within the relationship by saying, if you don't do what I say, I'll go to the white racist system.
Let's go.
And I'll extort you. Me and them will team up to extort you. And a lot of black men in response to that, which I think is partly right of them to respond in, is to say, well, then I won't work. If that's what you want to do, if that's how corrupt you're going to go, if you're in one conversation going to say that the white man is inherently racist and the whole system is guilty. But on the other hand, call them when I raise my voice too much and then go get me on child support that has no type of relativity to my ability to procure work, then I just won't work. I'll opt out of the whole thing.
Let's take a pause right there. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. This is the conversation. This is the greater conversation that needs to be had. We can sit up and whine and cry about police brutality all day in the paint. But the reason that we are in the predicament where we're vulnerable to police brutality, racist attacks, or just regular neighborhood gun violence is because our neighborhoods and our communities are out of order. They are completely out of order. Why? Because you niggas let your women run you. You niggas let your woman run you. And that's not the natural order of things. Look at the black community. I've said this a million times. Since the women's empowerment movement, 50, 60 years, where has the black community gone? Straight to hell. They've had the keys for the past 50, 60 years. They've been in charge of the community. And they drove the motherfucker straight off a cliff. And look where we are now. Let's go.
And that's where black men make a grave mistake, although it's right in spirit. Because then they get you on driver's license suspension.
Real quick, shout out the big dog Jamar. He says, get off the W-2 if you in that situation, is all I would add. Hey, what's good, big dog? Hey, if you ain't doing nothing, click that link. You can join the conversation if you want to put your 2 cents in. But definitely appreciate the comment and the view. Shit.
Then you can't work. Now you can't pay your child support. Now you get arrears that affect both your credit and they'll throw you in jail for it. And they have done that. And black women on a generational basis have continued to participate in it. And Sierra is a shining example of a higher class and a different variety, but the exact same feminist edifice.
Take the weed and leave the money now.
Take the wall and left the wall.
Hope that answered the question.
It did. I want to answer the contention that, hey, Whitlock is letting men off the hook and he's only blaming women. And I understand why someone may jump to that conclusion.
Real quick. Yes, we cooking today, but real quick, if you can hear my voice, if you're watching this live on YouTube, Twitter, Straight Talk No Chase Facebook page, or my personal Facebook page, hit the like button, hit the share button. Let's push this video further in the algorithm so we can get a little more exposure. Appreciate you.
But you have to also remember about, as it relates to me, just think of how much flack I've taken over the years for my criticism of high-profile black athletes like LeBron James or others, rappers. A lot of these rappers have threatened to kill me, from Snoop Dogg on down, for my criticism of the culture that they are producing, the art that they're producing, and the values that they're promoting. And so I'm a critic, and I criticize whatever I see as ungodly, unhealthy, and that includes myself. That's why, again, it's not just jokes I crack when I say, hey, my gluttony and it's a mistake, and it's I'm very critical of myself when I sit there and say my philosophy on dating and marriage and relationships early in my life when I'm just out pursuing money and I'm critical of myself for the same things. And that liberates me to be critical of others when I see it, because I don't let myself off the hook. I don't let black men off the hook. I've taken a lot of heat in recent months for not letting secular Jewish folks off the hook.
Y'all niggas are crazy, dog. Y'all niggas are absolutely crazy. Jason Whitlock is the truth. I don't agree with everything this nigga say. I do not. Like, I disagree with him with his stance on reparations. But other than that, this nigga's 100% spot on. And he's willing to go there with anybody to tell you niggas the truth. But you know what? You know what happens when you tell niggas the truth? You know what happens when you tell niggas the truth? This what happens.
I'm not a prophet, but sometimes I have prophetic dreams, like the one where I was at a garden party. Excuse me, everyone, I have a brief announcement to make. Jesus was black, Ronald Reagan was the devil, and the government is lying about 9/11. Thank you for your time and good night. No! This can't be Ow!
Mm-hmm. You're having that dream where you made the white people riot, weren't you?
But I was telling the truth.
How many times have I told you you better not even dream about telling white folk the truth? You understand me? Shoot. Making white people riot. You better learn how to lie like me. I'm gonna find me a white man and lie to him right now.
That's a motherfucking fact. All right, let's continue, man.
I've lost friends. I've lost people want to call me anti-Semitic, but the things that I see are unhealthy and ungodly or whatever, I point them out about myself and others. I'm not singling out black women, but damn it, y'all have been elected the leaders. The system has been designed to make you the leader of the black man. The system is giving you every weapon you could use to castrate the black man, and you're not objecting to it.
This ain't nothing but the truth, man. This ain't nothing but the truth. But your mainstream Negroes don't want to hear it. That's why they all came out and dogged this man like he was lying. But this nigga ain't lying. See, they want you to focus on one little minute detail with him possibly mistaking the chief for being a single mother. That's not even the real issue here. And that's not even what he's honing in on. But see, that's what petty motherfuckers, feminine motherfuckers, and women want to hold on to. Instead of focusing on the bigger idea, they want to talk about the little minute incident where you may or may not have slightly misspoken. But the bigger idea, they don't want to discuss that. Let's go, man. This nigga cooking.
If the last black woman I can remember that objected to it was Shahrazad Ali, and black women disowned her, and corporate media came after her. But I don't see black women. Shamika comes on this show and does it, but I don't see Ciara. I don't see any of these people going on. Hey, like, this court system is totally unfair to black men. And I'm talking about family court. Y'all would love to talk about the criminal justice system and getting every locked up dude out of jail. That family court system is far more vicious and unfair towards the black man because those rules change and they can manipulate far easier. The whole system favors y'all. Y'all been placed in a leadership position. Corporate media celebrates y'all as the smartest thing that's ever hit the planet. And you've taken on this role of leadership. Now you don't want to deal with the criticism that comes along with it. I'm not good with that. I'm going to call it out. I wish that ministers from the pulpit would call it out, but the road to popularity seems to be filled with call it racism.
To be excused for anything I say today, I'm on medication. I do not feel good, bitch. I'm loopy, blame the lean.
Anything that bad that happens to black people, call it racism, and we'll celebrate it. And it's all just a distraction and an annoyance, and it doesn't leave things in a better place.
Let me tell you and revisit how I became in heavy contention with the pro-black movement here in Minneapolis. Because when I marched, first off, the criticism of me and all of these black men that I brought together to speak out about the Fed and all of these other corrupt sort of institutions and policies and things, the criticism was, where did you guys come from? You're not a part of this in crowd in the activist community that's been here since Trayvon Martin, preaching this coalesced inclusive movement. Who are you? Why didn't you just join us? Why didn't you stand behind the black women or the white liberal women or the LGBTQ folks that have already been here? And my contention to them was, I've been fighting the establishment since 4 years before Trayvon Martin was killed. So we don't want to talk about track record. But let me tell you where the real strife came. I had a black woman tell me on the ground in Minneapolis during the George Floyd protests that just to be a black woman is a revolution.
Let's cook.
No, I swear on my name, she said with it wasn't funny. She wasn't being metaphorical. She wasn't being artistic or just playing. She said it with a serious face. Just to be a black woman is a revolution in and of itself.
I wish that type of chick would call into this show and tell me that right now. That would be hilarious.
I couldn't do it. My entire rhetoric on the ground in the community had to shift and focus in on black women. And that's supposed to be a no-fly zone. Why? Because there was a time when the government, Hoover and a bunch of other people who said they were conservatives, but really they were globalists and they were tyrants. They said that the Black Panthers and all these other, the black man was the most dangerous thing in the country, right? And they targeted it. There's no doubt about that. And the government was running the drug trade. There's no doubt about that. The CIA still moving cocaine across the border. No doubt about it. So I understand the feeling. I understand where they're coming from. So there was a time when black women were intentionally left with this duty, which was re-incentivized by the welfare state. We know the story. I don't care about any of that. None of that justifies the belief.
Shout out to Kev Goss. He says, hey, glad you agree with Whitlock. Yeah, for the most part, I agree with Jason Whitlock says, for the most part. Not everything, but I don't agree with what 100% of what any man says. But I agree with Whitlock enough to where I don't have any beef or any strife with anything he has to say. His opinion is his opinion. And for the most part, he's spot on.
That just to exist is a revolutionary act. This is the watering down of American citizenship.
Hold on, real quick, timeout. Kev Goss, hit the link in the chat and we can discuss it. Like I said, it's nothing crazy. I understand his view on reparations. I have my own. But at the same time, like I said, that's not his view, and my view is not enough for me not to rock with him. But if you want to go back and forth over what I think on it, the link is at the top of the chat. Click the link and we can talk about it. And also, I see your next point. If you want reparations, see the African kings who sold them. I agree with you right there too. I believe Africans should definitely pay reparations. For sure. But this show is not really about, the show ain't really about reparations. I don't really want to get into that. We could do that on another show. If you want to call it and talk about it, that's fine. But I want to kind of stay on topic. However, yeah, African kings should definitely pay. No argument there. I've actually already done a show on that. If you look into my my past videos. The video I did on the Woman King, I got into that heavy. So if you want to check that out, go ahead, man. But once again, thanks for the view. Thanks for the comments, man. Appreciate you.
And revolutionary action, but also revolutionary thought writ large. It's not just a revolution to be, no matter who you are, but especially black women, because guess what? Revolution is an action word. It's not a flat noun. It's not an adjective. It's an action word. Just like leverage is an action word. And they are leveraging black women against black men, but against the entire American populace. They're leveraging black women and the history of black women against the entire American culture. And it's one central message. If you're pro-America, which means you're pro-freedom, which means you're pro-Second Amendment, which means you're pro-God, which means you're individual sovereignty or national sovereignty, then you're anti-black women. That is the narrative. I was watching the movie You the other day. I just happened to be on Netflix, and I scrolled by, popped the movie You on with Noah, what's his name? Jonah Hill. I think that's his name.
I think he means You People. I think he means the movie You People. You People. The new movie with Jonah Hill and Nia Long, Eddie Murphy, and all them.
Okay. Jonah Hill is, that's his new movie on Netflix, original. And I just listened to the first opening 30 seconds where they're doing their radio show. And then the screen pops on and you can see that it's probably a black woman who's LGBTQ or something like that. And this was the narrative. I challenge anybody to go watch the first opening 30-second or minute of that movie and tell me that the message is not black women are antithetical to American culture, to America, the ideal of America. And they're gonna use it as a battle axe. And if black women wanna participate in that, that's fine. That's you have the right to sign up for whatever scam or corrupt grift you want to. That's on you. That's your individual choice and will. Don't think us black men are supposed to follow along, and don't think we're gonna follow these little beta male cucks who use and puppy dog for that movement to get laid.
Yo, shout out to my man Kevin Goss, man. No, bro, I'm not monetized yet. I need 500 more subscribers on YouTube. You gotta have 1,000 to be monetized, man. But thanks. I do appreciate that. But yeah, I'm not monetized yet. I need 500 more subscribers. But I'm not the type of guy that's begging for super chats, but I do have my Cash App posted up on the screen if you wanted to check that out. But that's up to you. It's right on the screen on the right hand side on the bottom, $ Trippin' Ain't Easy TV. But like I said, thanks, man. I appreciate the love, man. I'm working on getting monetized, man. 500 more subscribers to go.
Because we're not doing it. And increasingly, black men are stepping away from that. That's why they didn't like Kevin Samuels. He told them, stop saying that black men are running out on y'all. Y'all have unrealistic ideals about what black man you deserve. 54% of black men are unmarried with no children. 54% of black men are unmarried with no children.
Yo, tell me this man ain't on fire right now. This is what we need to hear. Turn off CNN, turn off MSNBC, turn on YouTube. Watch my channel. Watch Jason Whitlock's channel. Watch the Angry Man channel. Watch Fresh and Fit. Watch Minister Jap. Watch real people talking real shit, having real conversations, who really want to see shit turn around. And not just in one community, for the whole country. Because just in case, if you haven't noticed, we're talking about black shit right now. But this black shit ain't nothing but a test tube for the rest of the country. They test the shit out on us to see what's going to see what's going to work on the rest of you motherfuckers.
And you're making it seem like they're all deadbeats, that there's a preponderance of deadbeat culture. No, y'all all want Idris Elba. What makes you think that you deserve an Idris Elba? What makes you think you would even like Idris Elba if you actually knew him? But here's the scam, Jason, and I'll leave you with this. If they were with an Idris Elba, their standards would change. their expectations of the man would change. Why? Because it's based on a materialistic worldview, cultural Marxism. They'll let the Idris Elba cheat on them. They'll sign up for that. But if you're a man and you work at the post office, now you're expected to be in by 8 p.m., right? If it's Idris Elba, he could take a month to go to Dubai and film a movie and hang out with his female assistants or secretaries because, you know, that's just part of the gig. I know the game. I'm in it. I live it. And that's why I started off where I started. And I don't mean to go way off track, but I see this very first, you know, right up close in my age range. You traded in your administrative job for an OnlyFans. The same patriarchy that you said objectified you. And you'll love this one. You'll actually get a kick out of this one. The same patriarchy that you say sexually objectified you, now you just double down on it and sexually objectify yourself.
You kill a nigga behind pussy and ass. What that makes you?
Pussy ass.
Nigga.
As long as you get to hold the bag for it, instead of some pimp or some white man getting all of the profit, now if you get the lion's share of the profit, it's no longer about sexual objectification. And guess who started OnlyFans?
Yo, that's another great point. Like I said, this man be cooking, dog. Every night he comes on the Whitlock Show, I tune in. This man be cooking. That's another good point. These women talk out the side of their mouths. 1 minute, you're being sexually exploited, but then the next minute, you do it yourself, and there's no problem with it. 1 minute, the system is corrupt, and white supremacy is taking over everything, and yada, yada, yada. But the next minute, you get into a small altercation with your significant other, you're down at the court building, taking the black man for everything he's got. See, they really mad because Jason Whitlock talked about the real issue. He didn't go for all the hoopla around the same old police brutality storyline. He talked about the real issue, the root of the real problem in the black community, which is the family structure. The women have been in charge for long enough. No disrespect, but you guys have failed. You're done.
Fatality.
It's time for the men to take the keys back and get the train at least back on the tracks. But see, and that's even hard to say and hard to do because the women have so much leverage over the situation that at most times it's not even worth trying. It's almost better to let the shit burn down and start back over. I'm kind of at a dilemma with that. Like, because at one point I'm saying I think that the men need to be strong and take back over the community. But like, is it even worth it? Is it even worth it? Because you're going to take back a community completely underwater. Might not even be worth it. Shit, niggas is mad at the passport bros, but shit, I don't know. They might be on to something. I mean, look, I'm a married man. My wife is cool. I don't get none of these problems. I ain't talking shit because it could happen to me any day too. But at the same time, like, just in general, is it even worth us trying to take this shit back? This shit's underwater. This shit's underwater.
I want everybody at home to go and look up who started OnlyFans. And you tell me that OnlyFans itself is not a security state op.
Give us the answer to that. Who started it?
I want people, I'm tired of giving people answers because obviously I'm going a little bit too deep and far. It's a 3-click process. CIA, NSA, go look up who started OnlyFans and think about what it's done to the modern thinking of women. It said automation is great. AI is great. The internet is your best friend. The internet will give you everything you need. Just play with yourself in front of the camera Make people subscribe for $20. You make $10,000 a month. You can travel around, be metropolitan, take pictures, and act like you're living some extravagant lifestyle. And guess what? Even if you have a kid, you know you can pay to leave the kid with your mama and them.
I'm going to say this right here, right now. This show is for everybody. I talk to all races, all genders, whatever. But right now, black men, if you're not tuned in to Jason Whitlock's show, you're doing yourself a disservice. Yes, he does go off on the religion a lot, but I don't think that's a problem. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the message that he's giving out will benefit anybody of any religion, any race, any creed. This is the shit that men need to discuss, because right now we're under attack. The women don't understand that we're under attack. They don't understand that the corporate media and along with the corporations in general are using them. Because when you put the women at the head of the house, or when you make it so that the woman makes all the decisions, guess what's going to happen? You're going to spend more money. You're going to spend more money because women by nature are more liberal. Men by nature are more conservative. That's why when you send your wife to the tire shop to get a tire, she comes back home $1,500 poorer with 4 brand new tires that she didn't need. If I go to the tire store, nigga, give me the one tire that I asked for. No, I don't. No. They'll sit up and tell the woman, well, my wife will call me, well, they're saying that if we don't get 4 tires, the whole car's gonna... Put the man on the phone. We just need the one tire. Give me one tire. The whole game is designed to pander to women so that they give up the money. This is all about money.
Don't let the dad have the kid though, because if you let the dad have the kid, then you've given over the deal you cut with the government, with the technocrats. Same people. That's what I'm trying to convey here. It's the same people. The deal has been cut. The police safeguard. They are the guardrails for a moral decay that we all have bought into. And women first and foremost, because as soon as the man raises his voice, the same black deadbeats, they're the first ones on the horn to the white folks. Come get him. I'm scared. He's gonna kill me. He's gonna hurt me. He's a danger. He's a threat to the kids. A lot of these kids want to be with their kids. A lot of these men would gladly take their children and raise them on their own. These women are giving the kids and the deal has been cut, and all these black folks need to stop lying. To get laid. That's corny.
Agree with you there. I want to throw one more thing at you before I let you go, because it further explains my point of view and perspective on trying to explain to black women and just women in general about what my frustration and why I have this criticism is if you, and again, this is...
Pay attention, because he lays it out for you once again in clear terms. I don't know how anybody could get this misconstrued.
Isn't to canonize or say these guys were perfect, but if you go look at, because obviously we've had this conversation about Martin Luther King and his imperfections, but just go look at that generation and their approach, led by men, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, those guys, all of them with some sort of religious faith, whether we agree with it or not. And we certainly have disagreements with, Martin Luther King didn't even believe in the resurrection, and Malcolm X was part of the Nation of Islam and all that. But they had a religious belief, and they led a movement that was more based in logic and reason and leverage than where we are today with all of this emotional energy and all of this feelings-driven society. And that's my objection to this female leadership that we've been stuck with. They've created a system that caters to feelings. And once you start catering to feelings, you then have to abandon God. Because we all feel and desire things that are inappropriate for us. I mean, right now, I desire a double fillet of fish sandwich.
Yo, this motherfucker wild as shit.
I really do, sincerely. It's inappropriate. And I can't live my life based on that feeling, that desire. Right now, I mean, you know, if I wanted to go dirty, I could tell you some of my other desires that I just can't operate on. But that's what we have now going on in society because of this female-dominated leadership.
All right. So that's enough of that. You guys get the drift.